unto you, love your enemies. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Which is the first commandment of all?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Master, thou hast said the truth. There is one God, and none other but He. And to love Him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
Yeah, man, mate. Andrew. Good to see you guys. Even though there's only 3 watching, which is probably me, Vicky, and Sergio at the minute. I'll wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody comes in. But thanks, Barbara, for popping in earlier. Yeah, I couldn't do it this morning. I got up this morning to do it. I was just too tired. Vicky hadn't slept all night, so I think I was on and off. Vicky hadn't slept much, so I was on and off. So by the time I got up to do it, I was just tired, so I just put it off till this afternoon. But at least it's getting done. You know. Yeah, this clip, I've got it downloaded. L1 Hubbard's last interview, apparently. It must have been 70s. Late 70s, early 80s, I don't know. I'm not sure. That certainly looks that way from the thing. But I mean, for how old it is, it's decent enough quality. Decent enough quality. I don't know if I've ever seen it before. I mean, I've certainly seen parts of it. This is probably talks about Thetans and things like that, isn't it? I think it's Thetans they get called. The blooming demon aliens that we pay to get out of us if you're a Scientologist. So it sounds like a bit like a skew on Catholicism. You know? Pay to get out of purgatory, pay to be demonically exercised. I never asked you to do anything for him, so what are you talking about? I never said Bixby, did I? I never said nothing about Bixby. Did I say anything that sounded like Bixby? I do not know. Did it look like my banner is looking all skew wonky? Like the writing's halfway through it. What's going on there? Things sometimes just don't play right on YouTube, do they? Oh no, so let's take it off and on it. Aww. Maybe if I change, does it anything to do with here? Change. Why is it? Why is the font at the bottom of it coming out at the bottom of the block of colour? Silly. Let me just change. Hold on. Let's change the style of banner. See what random changes. There we go. It changed. When I did something, it changed. I don't know what I did, and it made it change. There it is. Normal again. But I'll probably have to take it off anyway. What we got here? 5 watching so far. See if another couple come. And then we'll just get started. I'm so tired today. I woke up having strange blooming dreams. Not that I know what they're about. I just know that when I have them, I wake up feeling awful, like depressed, and I kind of woke up like that. I hate when dreams do that to me. Don't even know what they're about. It just kind of happens. So yeah, let's go another couple of minutes. But this crappy him. Which colour? Let's have a look at the Michael's clip. This is Michael's clip. This is his intro that he used in his last opening. Let's have a quick look at it.
The people today, they called you king. They think you are the Messiah.
Who do you think I am?
You are the Son of God.
What if he's not the one? We're risking our lives. For what?
He has shown us his power. We must have faith in him.
Don't be afraid. Trust in God. Trust in me also. You know the way to where I'm going. We don't know where you're going. How can we know the way? I am the way, the truth, and the life.
I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. The beginning and the end.
My lord, I had been expecting death to come.
There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. I am making everything new. Yes. I am coming soon. May the grace of the Lord be with all God's people.
Amen.
You notice that though in movies and that in general, they often make Jesus good looking guy. But in the Old Testament it says he will be uncomely. Uncomely means ugly. It means nothing that anybody wants to desire. Beauty wise, uncomely is ugly. And that's what it said in the Old Testament. He will be uncomely. Nothing that anybody would desire, you know? Not physically anyway, you know? I understand why God does things like that, you know? Absolutely. Understand things like that. To show that God chooses the most unlikely of us to do work for him, you know? I mean, obviously there's the likely of us as well, but look at the most unlikely. Look at Jesus' disciples, his normal workers, tax collectors who were classed as thieves, still are classed as thieves, you know? That kind of thing. The sinners. That was his we've got to get rid of this banner. It keeps doing its hop, skip and jump thing. Like the letters are all at the bottom. It's weird. Get rid of the banner for him. Anyway, it's 4 in. Let's put this L. Ron Hubbard in. I think I waited near enough 10 minutes. Let's put it on anyway. It's about 50 minutes long. I don't know what I'm going to have to say about it. I think I've seen bits and pieces of it before. It says it's his last ever interview. Horrifying interview. And on the thumbnail for it said Hail Satan. So whether he actually hails Satan in it or equates to it, I don't know. Anything that's not of Christ, you might as well be hailing Satan, you know. Anyway, let's have a look at it. Let's get on. Video file. Ron Hubbard's disturbing last interview. Open.
I think man is here on this planet.
On this planet. Loaded question straight off. Why do you think man is here on this planet? Straight off. How can you just said here? You know, you have to mention the planet because they knew what knows what Scientology is all about. Without a planet, at least, Scientology is done. I mean, without a planet, at least, you know what I mean? It's done. It's done anyway. I mean, it's all done. Right. Anyway, let's say change it the way around. It's only me in here, so let's get a big yeah, do this way. Right, hey, Dylan, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. Lost me a planet, yeah. Happens quite a lot, you know. They do that all the time. They find planets, don't they, from observatories. Then the next night, it's like, oh, we lost it again. Maybe in the next 4,374 years, it'll come back around. You know what I mean? Round its orbit of the sun or whatever it's orbiting, and it'll come back. You'll see it. You'll see it in 4,000 years' time. Don't worry about it, guys. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what the orbits are like, and you know, like kind of crap out in space, as in outer space. It's all silly, isn't it? It's all crap, man. So when you think about it now, it's just silly. Silly. Why would God create such a vast place with nothing in it? It's vanity, isn't it? And then for us to be specks of dust that mean nothing. It's ridiculous. I mean, in that case, size is, if that was real, size is relative. But I mean, if everything is contained, well, which it is, it's contained, I mean, apart from God, obviously, in this flat earth with this firmament round about us, then size is just, it's not really that relative, is it? There's only just the side here. I mean, the sizes that we see, sort of thing. Anyway, let's go.
What's his purpose? Why is he in a body?
Well, he was put here, and he was supposed to make his own way out of it.
Hold on.
Who put him here?
Who here? What was the question?
Why do you think man is here on this planet?
Oh, man.
What's his purpose? Why is he in a body?
Well, he was put here, and he was supposed to make his own way out of it.
Who put him here?
Well, call it a supreme being or higher forces.
In this video, we dive into the dark truths behind L. Ron Hubbard, the enigmatic founder of Scientology.
Oh, no. That's very funny. Man is asleep.
I don't know what's so enigmatic about it. It's not mysterious. They tell you all about it. And they tell you what it's about. I mean, yes, they'll load a lot of things to their chest and won't let you in or investigate their buildings and all that. But what they're about, they tell you about. And it's in movies and all that kind of crap. So I don't think there's much it's I suppose it's certainly esoteric, but it's certainly out there what it's all about. Or experts believe, yes, Dylan. Like he's the first expert of Scientology, isn't he, L. Ron Hubbard? Because he bloody made the whole lot of the crap up. Unless he got the idea from someone else, which I don't know. Oh yeah, he did. He got it from Thetans, didn't he? Or he discovered he had a Thetan in him. That's maybe why. The Thetan, the demonic Thetan within him, told him. That's what it is. Madness, man. Man is asleep. I will agree with that. I'll agree with that. Not asleep, but definitely subconsciously hypnotized. You know what I mean? Well, just hypnotized, I suppose, because they certainly hear the truth but don't recognize it. You know, that's when Jesus says, like, my flock will hear my voice and they'll know it. These people don't, because they don't. They don't know his voice because they hear it, but they don't know it, so they don't answer. You know.
He is hypnotized. He is made to fixate on certain things, you see, and the process.
Which we still do, fixate on certain things. You just put in a replacement in there, dude.
That you normally know as brainwashing and that sort of thing, is hypnotizing man. It's forcing him into certain values. It's crowding him by various duress into these values. And he eventually becomes...
Apparently he had really bad head. He was really bad with his hygiene and that. And his teeth were all manky and his breath was all halitosis and that. Apparently he didn't look after himself that way. I don't know. That's just them rumors, I suppose.
The person who has no awareness. Now, in Scientology, reverse the process and you make him wake up.
L. Ron Hubbard was born on March 13, 1911, in Tilden, Nebraska, to Harry Ross Hubbard and Ladora May Hubbard. His father was a
What? Okay. All right.
naval officer, which meant the family moved.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was meant to do it the other way, like they were played. Sorry.
Hubbard was exposed to a variety of cultures and environments, which later influenced his writings and teachings. His early years were spent in the rural Midwest, but as his father's career in the Navy advanced, the family relocated to places as varied as Montana and Washington, D.C. These frequent moves fostered in Hubbard a sense of adventure and curiosity about the world. Hubbard's early education was marked by instability due to his family's constant relocations. He attended several schools, including Union High School in Bremerton, Washington, and
even just things like that, getting uprooted and relocated, uprooted, relocated, uprooted, relocated. That's not knowing where you belong, or you belonged at the first place you were at. That's what you think. So maybe this kind of thing that you started doing is for a place of belonging. You know what I mean? I know where I belong. I've got to make up where I belong. You know, and I belong to these aliens that made us. And there's these aliens as well that demonically possesses. You know, maybe he made up the story to belong somewhere, because it says he was uprooted everywhere. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just spitballing here.
Swavely Prep School in Manassas, Virginia. Despite the frequent moves, Hubbard managed to graduate from Helena High School in Montana in 1930. He briefly attended George Washington University, where he enrolled in the engineering program. However, his academic performance was lackluster, and he dropped out after just 2 years. This period of formal education, though brief, did not dampen his ambitions or his love for writing. From a young age, Hubbard was an avid reader and developed a keen interest in adventure stories and tales of...
There you go, an avid reader in adventure stories, you know? And then he probably ended up reading things like Asimov, you know, stuff like that. The sci-fi writer, is it Asimov? I can't remember. And Arthur C. Clarke and things like that. I don't know if Asimov was a series of books or a writer. Can't remember. There's people like Arthur C. Clarke and these Asimov books and stuff like that, you know. You read things on adventure. So you put the two together, then you get sci-fi, don't you? Adventure and space, you get sci-fi, you know.
Exploration. His early experiences would shape his imaginative mind and storytelling abilities. His mother, Ladora, was a former teacher who encouraged his reading habits and provided him with access to a wide range of literature.
I thought this was the full interview of his last... I thought this was the interview of his last thing. I didn't know it was a documentary about it. I thought it was actually his full interview. But there we go. There we go. Here you go. This will do.
Exposure to books ignited Hubbard's passion for storytelling, which he pursued with vigor throughout his life. Hubbard
says it there. Storytelling. And then he just made up a story, an elaborate story in the end, and said it was true. But he knows it's a story. I knew it was a story because He's no longer.
Hubbard's first.
Oh, he's with the great Thetans of old. Now he's with his four Thetans, the four Thetans. Well, I know Thetans are meant to be bad, isn't it? I kind of don't. We know about Scientology, but getting it, it's a different thing.
Significant foray into writing came at the age of 12 when he published a short story in his high school's magazine. By the time he was a teenager, he had already begun to pen stories, often drawing inspiration from the adventures he imagined and the diverse places he had visited. His early works were characterized by a vivid imagination and a penchant for the extraordinary.
Well, yeah, Dylan, in a way, it probably is that. Well, it is that. Of course, it is. You start off at the low, you know what I mean? And the higher you get in rank, the more you have to pay. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. It does seem like some kind of pyramid scheme. The more you decide to pay, and the higher you are, the more you get. That kind of thing. It's silly, isn't it? It's silly. It's okay for your Tom Cruises and that to be Scientologists and high ranking, because they've got the sponduli, don't they? I wonder if Tom Cruise actually believes this story, or just likes being part of a club that he pays through the nose for, you know? I mean, he's pretty much the second in command there, isn't he? Pretty much. Second, third in command or something.
In one of his biographical sketches, Hubbard claimed, "I was a normal boy who liked adventure and excitement. My childhood was filled with tales."
But I mean, how does someone like a dancer, like John Travolta? I mean, yes, I know he's in Hollywood and all that, but he's a dancer. How does he get into Scientology? And his actor in Look Who's Talking, was it? The lady? Yeah. What's her name? I think she actually died. Oh, what's her blooming name? Diane, isn't it? Sorry, I'm going to find this out. Does me nothing when this happened. She was in Cheers as well. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see your troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. What was her name? I used to love Cheers. I still would watch Cheers. Brilliant. 1982. Wow. Shelley's cast. No, it's Shelley Long. Yeah, Castiali. Yeah, thank you, Dylan. You said it just as you typed it just as I was saying it. It came up just as I was saying it. Castiali, of course. How could I forget that name? See, I'm used to Shelley Long from Cheers. Castiali was later on, wasn't she? Or was Shelley Long later on? You know, Shelley Long was the first one, I think. Woody Harrelson, yes, we started. It's when he had some hair. Woody Harrelson, when he looked like me. I mean, seeing Woody Harrelson from Cheers to where he is now, it is crazy. And he started off like a good-looking boy, and now he's not such a good-looking older boy. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's mad seeing these people. I mean, Ted Danson as well. I had no idea that guy has been bald for a long time. And then when I seen him in the movie Loch Ness, to do with Loch Ness Monster, and he actually went for his first time without his toupee or anything, and you seen what he actually looked like, and he had no hair and that on top. It's like, wow. Same as Burt Reynolds. I didn't know for a long time he wore a toupee. Sean Connery and James Bond wore a toupee. They were all bald. They were all baldy. I didn't know. At some point, I do know. Obviously, you can see it now. You know. Toupees used to be better. I think toupees were a lot better than what hair transplants and things are now, because you can see with a hair transplant, it's almost like been stitched in. It looks like doll's hair, like spot there, spot there, spot there, in lines. You kind of see it. I would hate to go bald, but if I was to go bald, I wouldn't do anything about it. I wouldn't do anything about it. There's no point. No point. I don't think that kind of thing can be reversed.
Of exploration and discovery. Despite the challenges of his academic life, Hubbard's early career as a writer flourished. In the early 1930s, he moved to New York City.
Talking about Cheers in New York City. I mean, I know it was Boston, but doesn't that look like a little bit like the opening of Cheers? Just a little crowded. But I mean, well, it's not too far, is it? Boston, New York, you know what I mean? Yeah. I love Cheers. And then I liked Frasier afterwards. I know it's a spin-off. And then you've got the new Frasier that came out just like last year, year before. A few episodes of anyway. I don't know if it turned into a full-on thing, but I did watch the first couple. And at that point, I remember like Kelsey Grammer in Cheers. And then you see him in the X-Men now. I mean, he's still playing Beast in the X-Men, sort of. It's more CGI than anything now than Kelsey Grammer, but you know what I mean. It's Kelsey Grammer's voice. I'm the other dude, the other English dude from the First Class guys. Hey, Joe King, good to see you, man. Yeah, good to see you, Joe King. But I have seen you around. I'm sure I have. Definitely seen your name, probably in Flat Sides. Definitely seen Joe King about. But good to see you, man. Good to see you. Frasier was too dry for you. I get you. I mean, I probably liked it because of Cheers, and then you kind of looked forward to the episodes where you see Ted Danson come in on Frasier, or Woody Harrelson come in on Frasier, playing their parts. From or Norman probably came in, and Clyde the postman probably came in Frasier as well. Clyde, something like that. But you can't beat Cheers. I mean, 1982. I can't believe it's quite that early. But I remember being in my bed as a kid, and had a colour TV, but the aerial wasn't working very well. But we managed to get it a picture in black and white, quite fuzzy, and could hear it. And so we'd sneak it on at night and watch it. I mean, with a coat hanger hanging at the back of the TV. A big box wooden telly, colour telly, but we could get it in grainy black and white and then watch that. You know what I mean? Aerials were a pain in the butt, antennas, you guys would say, I suppose. But aerials were a pain in the butt when I was a kid. If you were in a small village and you weren't near the big mast, then you had when I was a kid, pain getting a picture. I remember when Channel 4 came out and Channel 5. I remember there just being 3 channels, 1, 2, and ITV. My mum remembers just 1, obviously. My dad remembers 0. You know, but 1, 2, BBC 1, BBC 2, and ITV. And then Channel 4 came out probably when I was about 82, 83. So I was 7-year-old. 6-year-old, 7-year-old when it came out. And then Channel 5 came out when I was a teenager. And up until probably the year 2000, where I came from, they didn't get Channel 5 as terrestrial. It came as part of the Sky package sort of thing. It took a while to get Channel 5 as terrestrial. In fact, I don't even think Channel 5 ever became terrestrial. It was always done through, like, if you had Sky or when Freeview came in. I don't know. And now we don't have terrestrial, it's all digital. Apparently you can still get terrestrial signals on old NRTVs and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, I'm talking crap. I'm just going into a nostalgia trip. You know what I mean? Sorry. Let's carry on. But I do like Cheers. Cheers is one of the first sitcoms I remember watching. And to me, it wasn't about drinking at a bar at all. That you didn't see that part. It wasn't. That's not what I focused on. It was the friendships and the carry on that between them. And that I liked it.
City, the epicenter of the pulp fiction industry. It was here that he truly made his mark. His first published work, a short story titled The Green God, appeared in a magazine in 1934. This was just the beginning of a prolific writing career. Over the next decade, Hubbard wrote hundreds of short stories.
I now hooked on the internet. I don't watch TV at all now. I mean, there's my TV area. No, I mean, it's plugged in. Plugged in, but only just in case the internet goes out. That's there. That's the coax right there. It's plugged in. And for a long time, I had the old one there, and I could get a picture on the old one. And I was like, oh, but it wasn't very good. I had to move the cable about and stuff. I didn't realize that's the old one. I've got a new one next to it in a box. Vicky noticed it and plugged it straight in and it worked. I was like, oh, for goodness sake. But I don't use it. I don't use it. It's plugged in, but I don't use it because... Huh? How's it plugged in? What on earth? Oh, because I plugged in the wrong one, that's why. Oh, I just took it out of there. Why isn't it going back in? I was trying to put it back in the wrong one. But yeah, we don't. Vicky watches a bit of TV now and again, but I don't. But most, if she watches TV, it's on an app. It's on an app like the BBC iPlayer or whatever. So I just don't. There's nothing on TV I watch anymore, really. I mean, I like a movie now and again. But you don't watch them on TVs anymore, do you? You watch them on apps, so you go to the cinema. I mean, I did just like watching TV. As a kid, I mean, just having 3 channels for a long time. Just say 4. You didn't have much to choose from. And at night time, your TV went off. Your TV went off, I don't know, 1, maybe midnight or 2. By 2 in the morning, it was definitely boo, test credits. And then eventually your TV would flick off. I remember at one point you would just watch it and it would flick down to the white dot. You know, it used to be that then your static would come on, then it would go black and flick down to the white dot until it just faded off. Crazy how things have changed. But at the same time, not. That's just technology that changed and certain things. But at the same time, nothing new under the sun. Hey mate, good to see you, bro. Yeah, it's all BS, Dylan. Programming lies on the news. Aye, exactly. You can't escape it. And even any truth in the news is counteracted by the lies. You don't know what to trust when it comes to news. You have to discern yourself. So I don't listen to any news. I don't. I listen to what Vicky's told me and all that from the news, and I just say, well, I take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, I know you guys in America say grain of salt, but over here we say pinch of salt. I don't know many people that say grain of salt. We say a pinch of salt. You know, take it with a pinch of salt. I don't know. I've always said that. I don't know if we do say grain of salt over here, but yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, I'm just blethering, so let's get on with it.
Stories, novels, and articles, primarily in the science fiction and fantasy genres. His works appeared in popular pulp
science fiction and fantasy genres, and then he's got Scientology. Did people not find that a bit suspicious that are in Scientology? Oh, he was well into like science fiction and all that, and then all of a sudden he's telling you this true story about Thetans possessing you and all this kind of crap. And I don't know totally know what the Scientology is all about, but you know what I mean, the basality and that. I mean, they haven't got a god as such, have they? Although we know that Scientology's god is just Satan, obviously.
Magazines such as Astounding Science Fiction, Unknown, and Thrilling.
Should have said a deity, because it's certainly got a god. I mean, to them, they haven't got a deity, but they have, obviously.
Wonder stories. Hubbard's storytelling prowess was complemented by his ability to craft engaging and imaginative plots. He became a well-known figure in the pulp fiction community, with stories that captivated readers with their imaginative plots and larger-than-life characters. One of his most...
There you go, imaginative plots. So if he's got the imagination for a book, He's got the imagination for a religion. I mean, a book can cause a religion, as we've seen it as. The Bible started religions. You know what I mean? Because I'm not religious. I certainly ain't religious. You know what I mean? I believe what the Bible says, absolutely, but I'm not religious. But people create religions from it. Not the Bible created it. People create religions from it. You know what I mean? From a book. Not the final blackout, but there you go. Could it not have just been an idea of his one day, a story? Then thought, hold on a minute. He's good getting the money from these books and all that stuff, but hold on. I could be a lot richer if I had my own religion. Yeah. It would be like a Stephen King starting a religion. Dude, if Stephen King started a religion, man, wow. George Stark, the dark half, would be God. No, Ralph Roberts from Insomnia would be God. I think the doctors from Insomnia would probably be God. But I loved Stephen King's books. Yes, I know the horror and all that. And he's got some fantasy and stuff. And he's got the Richard Bachman books, his pseudonyms, the Richard Bachman books. Is it Richard Bachman? Yeah, Richard Bachman books. That's a pseudonym. He's got them. But I love Stephen King's writing. I love how he's able to write. But he's obviously got a warped mind. Stephen King starting a religion, wow, it would be evil. It would be evil.
Famous early works, Final Blackout, published in 1940, depicted a post-apocalyptic world and received...
I understand people like Stephen King having an imagination because of his eyesight. I mean, his eyesight's been forever failing, hasn't it? So some people like that live in their head. Good imaginations, you know.
Critical acclaim for its originality and depth. Hubbard's aspirations extended beyond writing fiction. He was deeply interested in the human mind and the nature of existence.
The Church of H.P. Lovecraft. The Church of J.R. Hartley from Yellow Pages. I don't know if you remember that one. J.R. Hartley. Oh, excuse me, I'm looking for a book by J.R. Hartley. Do you have it? No. But the Yellow Pages does. And your name? Oh, my name is J.R. Hartley. The British people know what I'm on about, if they're around about my age anyway.
Subjects that he would explore more seriously in his later works. His early career was marked by a blend of fact and fiction, as he often embellished his personal achievements and experiences to enhance his public persona. For example, he claimed to have traveled extensively in Asia, studying with Buddhist monks and learning ancient wisdom, although these claims were later disputed by critics and researchers. As he developed his writing career, Hubbard began to weave his interests in psychology and self-help into his works. In a 1941 letter to his friend and fellow writer, Forrest J. Ackerman, Hubbard wrote,
"Shut up, you! Your mum's in the shower. And she's not your mum, she's human. You're a dog. She's your owner. That's what she is, your owner. You are not an animal person. You're just an animal, okay?" I was watching this thing about the vegan teacher's daughter. She's not actually the vegan teacher's daughter, but she's the vegan. She gets called the vegan teacher's daughter. Australian girl, and she's an active. She does all this activist stuff for veganism. I can't remember my point, and you made me forget. Oh yeah, and she calls she says the animal, like we are animals, so we are a human person, they're an animal person, so they get called person. I mean, she can't even let the animal choose its own pronoun. She has to choose its pronoun for it, you know. But to calling them people, yeah. No, weird.
"The mind is a fascinating machine, and I am determined to unlock its secrets." This fusion of science fiction and speculative psychology would eventually culminate in the creation of Dianetics.
Certainly is. There certainly is, Dylan. Certainly is. Oh, here's the Dianetics thing. Yeah, you can see this.
The precursor to Scientology, his early writings, filled with adventurous tales and explorations of the mind, laid the groundwork for his future endeavors as a spiritual leader and the founder of a new religious movement. His journey...
Don't know how you can be a spiritual leader of something that he doesn't think was spiritual in the first place. It's just musings in his head. I mean, there's no deity involved. How is it spiritual? You know, are we gods? Is that the thing? Is that the thing again? Twyla Luna, 1950. I don't know if that's the name or just saying 1950. But good to see you. Sorry, no, you're saying 1950. 1950 what? But good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Everything is spiritual. Yeah. Well, everything we see is certainly is made by spirit. That's for sure. I mean, everything was created through spirit. That's guaranteed. That is right. Yeah. But we live in a natural world. But things that are just coming out of his head to me is natural. Is not spiritual. You know, there's nothing spiritual involved in Hubbard. Evil, yeah, but certainly not spiritual the way I think anyway. Hey, Michael, how you doing, man? You good? Mike,
hi, PJ. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, L1 Hubbard, eh? Just a guy with an overactive imagination. You think?
Yeah, he has, but he did a great job with that.
Oh well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't read any of his stuff. I've heard of him and his works. Not definitely, absolutely.
For his family, you know, for his devil family.
Yeah. I mean, he certainly would have had a good mind to be able to do this in the first place. But I do just think it's come from the musings of his mind. You know what I mean? I think the people who fall in Scientology are thinking about following it. Should take that in consideration. That he was very imaginative and was into science fiction and into adventure stories and into fantasy stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like the New Age movement. You know, it started like there.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, bro. Anyway, let's carry on.
From a wandering youth to a prolific writer and eventually a controversial religious leader is a testament to his complex and often contradictory nature. In 1950, L. Ron Hubbard published Dianetics.
It's the Dianetics thing I'm not too sure about. Let's have a listen to it, actually. I've heard about it, but I mean, yeah. The Dianetics thing is the more you pay to get cleaner, basically, isn't it? It's a basic outlay of that thing, isn't it? Let's hear what you say about it.
Modern Science of Mental Health, a book that would lay the foundation for what would eventually become Scientology. Dianetics was touted as a revolutionary approach to mental health.
You're still in Master Manipulator. No, another one of them that is spiritual. Not on the good side of spiritual either.
Claiming to offer a method for individuals to rid themselves of negative influences from their past. Hubbard's central premise was that the human mind was divided into two parts: the analytical mind, which was rational and conscious, and the reactive mind, which was irrational and stored traumatic experiences as engrams. According to Hubbard, these engrams were the source of all psychological and physical problems, and through a process called auditing, individuals could confront and erase these engrams, achieving a state of clear. The publication of Dianetics was a monumental success. The book quickly became a bestseller, propelled by a combination of Hubbard's prolific promotional efforts and
Best Life Now book. Another form of it, isn't it? But I mean, in Christianity, I suppose, in a way, there's some Christians, I suppose, and certainly the rehab I went to did this thing called 7 steps and stuff. I mean, I don't agree with that. It's called 7 steps to freedom, and you've got to follow this, do this, and you know what I mean, to be free of it. I'm like, no, I just asked God to take it from me. and forgive me for it, and then I'm free of it, as long as I'm forgiven. They want me to go through this step by step thing of do this and you'll be free. I'm like, I just ask God to free me of it, He'll teach me, He'll show me that way, Hey, Alan, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. But you do get some Christians that incorporate this type of stuff, like 7 steps of freedom, 7 steps to freedom. Hold on, I just asked Jesus to free me. Minnie, shut up. She's in the shower. Weirdo.
Isn't Scientology the thing where you have to give up everything you own and give it to them, and so they take it, and then you have a job for life or something? I don't know.
Well, that is one, isn't it? Minnie, shut up.
So you give away all your freedoms, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. Diuretics. Diuretics. I thought you said diuretics there. Diuretics. Diuretics, like it. Diuretics would have been used to. Yeah, she was creating because you were outside. How you doing there, Jeff?
Hey.
Hey, Jeff. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, brother. We're doing L. Ron Hubbard in a minute.
I figured you'd notice me if I said hi in here.
Oh, did you not say? Oh, okay. Oh, you did say you were in there. Sorry, dude.
No worries. I'm just bugging you.
I know. I can see you did that. Sometimes I'm not very good at that. I mean, I catch things in the chat quite a lot, but sometimes the simplest little thing like hello is like, didn't see it.
Yeah.
That's the C.org. The public P out of there. Yeah.
The burgeoning interest in self-help and mental health in post-war America, Dianetics attracted a diverse audience, including medical professionals, intellectuals, and ordinary individuals seeking solutions to their personal struggles. Despite its popularity, the book faced significant criticism from the scientific and medical communities. Critics argued that Hubbard's theories lacked empirical evidence and were not grounded in established psychological.
Well, it certainly did lack empirical evidence. There's only his word for it, isn't there? I mean, he came up with the whole process and everything. So, where was the proof before that? I mean, there's only what him and his crew say, his esoteric group say.
Principles. Nevertheless, the public's fascination with Dianetics persisted, and Hubbard's ideas began to take root. As interest in Dianetics grew, Hubbard established the Hubbard Dianetic Research Foundation in Elizabeth, New Jersey in 1950. The foundation aimed to promote and teach Hubbard's techniques, offering courses and auditing sessions to those eager to achieve the state of clear. The initial enthusiasm, however, was soon tempered by internal conflicts, financial difficulties, and increasing scrutiny.
Was that some waxworks of him there? That was pretty creepy. Let's see that again.
And teach Hubbard's techniques, offering courses and auditing sessions to those eager to achieve the state of clear. The initial.
Wow.
I gotta head out there. Sorry, Peach.
All right, dude.
Have a good rest of your day. God bless.
Thanks for popping in, man. Tell that.
All right. See you.
Oh, wow. That looks so creepy. So creepy. So these aliens were kind of humanoid, or we are whatever they are, I suppose. Alienoid. I don't know. But yeah, it's isn't it a little funny that these the side profiles of these kind of look like a younger L. Ron Hubbard of these waxworks, kind of long noses, and yeah, they kind of do. I think they're kind of based on his physiology.
Enthusiasm, however, was soon tempered by internal conflicts, financial difficulties, and increasing scrutiny from the medical and scientific establishments. In response to these challenges, Hubbard began to shift the focus of his teachings from a purely mental health framework to a more spiritual and religious context. This transition marked the birth of Scientology.
From mental health to spiritual and religious, which spiritual and religious is completely different. A lot of people come from together, but different. Well, Alistair Crowley, do what thou wilt, that shall be the whole of the law. Yeah, he was a nice guy, wasn't he? I've done a few
Yeah.
things on Alistair Crowley, you know.
They
Clever
were
guy.
buddies, I think, too, right?
Yeah, clever guy, but one of the most evilest dudes about, man. The things that he did, you know.
Yeah, and they were buddies, I think, right? They were friends.
Yeah,
They put this up together. Like also Walt Disney was in there, I think. You know?
yeah. Even to himself, though, not just to others, to himself. I mean, he may be self an addict. He did all these things that other people did, and he did to other people. He did these things himself. He took part in sex magic. He did all these horrible things. You know what I mean? These degrading things. Do what thou wilt, that shall be the whole of the law. Do what
Of
you
course.
want. That's just
And a lot of money, you know, and this fuels all this aggression and all this. Hatred.
he had an inheritance, didn't he? But I think he ended up being broke in the end. At the end of it all.
Many times I think he was broke and had to get catch up from his friends.
Yeah. Can you imagine if he'd used that for good, for the Lord? You know what I mean? That would have been fantastic. But no, there is some evil out there. Do you know what I mean? More evil than Crowley himself. You know, obviously he'd like to be called the Beast, but his master. You know what I mean? That's the proper beast.
Yeah,
that's the proper beast. He's got not scraping on God though, obviously. But obviously Satan's got to be more powerful than any man. But we no need to fear him through the Lord. If you're in the Lord.
But this was like 1952, right? So it was before the first moon landings and everything, and they were all, already talking about aliens and shit back then.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Oh, I mean, even sorry, totally off topic. The globe. I was saying it last night. You know, it was kind of off topic at that point when I said it. But yeah, 1915. That we had already got Universal Pictures and that with the globe on the screen spinning, showing us, but nobody had been to space yet to see if we had. If that's what it was like, a globe spinning. So from having an animated globe spinning in the 50s before they allegedly went to space to having an animated globe after they've been to space and saying it's real, they're exactly the same things. You know what I mean? Just a different type of animation.
And science and fiction got mixed up together, you know, and so you got science fiction. This was
exactly.
Imaginary science.
Mm-hmm. And all the satellites nowadays look like satellites that were designed for books, like these Asimov books and that I was on about, and all that. All the books that were out before the alleged moon landings and people spacewalks and all that. Then when they spoke about satellites, I don't mean moon satellites, I mean human-built satellites. They all look like satellite, like Sputnik. If you've seen Sputnik in a book before Sputnik allegedly went to space, it would have looked like Sputnik that went to space. That's exactly what it looked like, you know.
Yeah.
Or based on. They pretty much still do look like that. I mean,
and these guys are big fans of these books. I think, you know, this.
Of course.
Science fiction.
Is that your new top?
No.
Is that new? Oh, nice. She was whinging for you.
Well, she was whinging even when I had her in the bathroom.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, because I'm not allowed to get dressed, apparently.
Oh, it's she's an empty.
No, go away, you annoying me.
Dogs in the doghouse.
In 1952, Hubbard introduced the concept of Scientology, which he described as the study of knowledge or truth. Unlike Dianetics, which focused primarily on the mind, Scientology encompassed a broader spiritual dimension. Hubbard expanded his teachings to include the concept of the Thetan, an immortal spiritual being that he believed was the true essence of every individual. According to Hubbard, Thetans had lived through multiple past lives.
What does OTO mean, guys? Is that it must be an anagram for something, like IDK for, like, I don't know. Not an anagram, sorry, an acronym. OTO. Also, Crowley. Also, no. Hold on. Where else did I see it? Where did I see it? OTO was it? Friends of Disney and Hubbard. OTO was involved, I believed. Or the other? Is that what it means?
Or it's the temple, like Ordo Templi Orientalis, you know, where this was the
Oh,
temple where they
it's
served.
what then?
One time only.
Oh, one time only. One time only.
Oh.
One time only. That's the grand
What's
name.
wrong there?
Okay, whatever. He's on about these past lives and that, yeah.
Lives and were burdened by traumas and engrams accumulated over.
And yeah, all these past lives we had as well. All the trauma from the past lives carries you to your new life and all that kind of stuff, and just builds up and builds up, builds up. So that's what the Dianetics were all about, weren't they? Getting rid of all these traumas from past, not just this life, past lives, probably infinite lives, infinite regressions. Wow.
Countless lifetimes. Through the practices of Scientology, individuals could reclaim their true spiritual nature and achieve a higher state of awareness and freedom. The establishment of the Church of Scientology followed soon after. In 1953, Hubbard founded the first Church of Scientology in Camden, New Jersey. This move...
Oh, it means, right, okay. Ordo Templi Orientis. Right, got you. Which means what again, Mike?
This is the order in which they all served, you know. This was the Trinity
Right.
order in which they were under, and
Right.
from this
So like
came
a
this whole
hierarchy.
cult, you know. This is
Right.
what-
So that's obviously a Latin saying for like order. Right, I get it.
Yeah, it's still today. It's the same order.
Got you.
solidified the transition from Dianetics to a fully fledged religious movement. The church provided a formal structure for the dissemination of Hubbard's teachings, offering a range of courses, auditing sessions, and advanced spiritual training. Early followers of Scientology were drawn by the promise of personal...
Look at that there. Who was we just talking about? Oh, Mr. Crowley himself. And that's somebody who worshipped Mr. Crowley.
Yeah.
Wow, what the hell's his name? Ozzy Osbourne. He sang the song, didn't he? Oh, Mr. Crowley. Yeah, he worshipped him.
He
Mr.
did,
Crowley
yeah.
worshipped Satan and himself, obviously. But I mean, even like say Anton LaVey, who opened the Church of Satanism, didn't even believe in a literal Satan. It was an ideology to him. You know what I mean? But,
Well, he wrote the book of Satan, right? The Bible.
Yes,
the
he did.
Satanic Bible,
He did.
the new Satanic Bible, right?
Yeah, he did. But he never actually thought of an entity of Satan, did he? He thought it was an ideology. So he was classed as an atheist still, which is a bit weird. It's a bit weird.
Transformation and spiritual enlightenment. Many were captivated by Hubbard's charismatic leadership and the seemingly miraculous results reported by those who had undergone auditing. The early years of Scientology were characterized by rapid expansion and growing influence. By the mid-1950s, Scientology centers had been established in major cities across the United States and abroad. Hubbard continued to develop and refine his teachings, introducing new concepts and practices that would become central to Scientology doctrine. Despite facing ongoing criticism and legal challenges, the Church of Scientology attracted a dedicated following and began to establish itself as a significant religious and cultural force. One of the key elements that facilitated the growth of Scientology was the introduction of the E-meter, a device used during auditing sessions to measure the electrical resistance of the skin. The E-meter was presented as a tool that could help auditors identify and address engrams more effectively. Hubbard claimed that the E-meter provided a tangible, scientific basis for his techniques, further legitimizing his teachings in the eyes of his followers. However, critics argued that the E-meter was nothing more than a crude lie detector, and its efficacy remained.
But based on what? How could you tell this worked? Based on what?
Based on his teachings. In the order.
Yeah, his own teachings, exactly. It's all there. It's all within himself. It's not empirical. You know what I mean? It's
No.
not empirical to anybody else.
This was made by
It's
man,
only
not by
in
God.
your head. You know what I mean? Wow. It looks like the dashboard to a futuristic Volvo. Not Volvo, Volkswagen. Little Volkswagen. What do you call them? The little Volkswagen ones. The heavy ones. 52. Where Porsches have derived from. Volkswagen Beetle.
Remained highly controversial. The transition from Dianetics to Scientology also involved a shift in organizational structure and strategy. Hubbard began to establish a more hierarchical and secretive organization with different levels of...
There you go, hierarchical. There it is, right there. Setting up some kind of religion, right now.
Spiritual advancement, known as operating...
Sorry, mate.
Pyramid structure.
Yeah, pyramid. Yeah, exactly. Someone said that earlier. It reminds them of pyramid scheme. This is it. Pretty much is. It's pretty much exactly what it is.
Thetan. These levels were said to contain increasingly advanced and esoteric teachings, accessible only to those who had demonstrated...
Very esoteric. It's only Tom Cruise and a few other people that like them.
Sufficient commitment and progress. This structure not only created a sense of exclusivity and mystery, but also ensured that followers remained deeply invested in their spiritual journey. Hubbard's relentless drive to expand Scientology and protect it from external threats led to the establishment of the Guardian's Office in 1966. This branch of the church was tasked with handling legal matters, public relations, and intelligence gathering. Under Hubbard's direction, the Guardian's Office engaged in a range of covert activities, including infiltration of government agencies, harassment of critics, and extensive legal...
A newspaper did this. Wow.
battles. These actions, while aimed at protecting Scientology, would later lead to significant legal and public...
Yeah, they are. The people we have said, John Travolta, Tom Cruise, Gastelli. I never said Nicole Kidman. And what's her name again? Can't remember her name. But I didn't mention, I forgot about Nicole Kidman. I don't think she has much to do with it anymore, though, didn't she? Because of Tom Cruise. These, obviously, I think Gastelli died.
Gastelli did die.
Yeah, she did. John Travolta's still into it. That out, and Tom Cruise, he's pretty much third in command, isn't he? Something like that.
Relations crises for the church. Despite these challenges, Scientology continued to grow throughout the 19th...
I mean, why? Why use the cross? Why use the Christian cross? I mean, I know it's not a Christian cross, but you can see Christ's cross in there. Why use that? Why use that when that's a symbol for something completely different? Completely different. I don't get why they used the cross. Maybe it'll get explained.
But I
60s and 1970s.
Go on, Mike.
I would think so that you got something familiar, you know, so that you can, this is something spiritual. Yes. So you can go there.
Yeah. Yes.
The meaning of the cross is spiritual, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing I would be able to say, so people would recognize it. But if it actually means something to Hubbard, I doubt. It's probably just a drawing, like you say, to tempt people to them.
The church established a global presence with centers and missions in Europe, Australia, and South Africa.
Leads people away from the truth, Glenn. I think that's the only thing it does. It came from a decent, a good mind for stories and stuff like that. That's what worries me. People coming into it, do they not? If they knew about Hubbard first, and his mind for stories, and his book, he was into adventure. He was into science fiction. He was into fantasy. That's where it started for him. And then all of a sudden, he's got a religion based on these things. that would be kind of a warning for me, I think. Good to see you, Glenn, man. Good to see you. 8 pointed for 8 dynamics. Cross. And okay. 8 pointed for 8 dynamic. Okay. Is that what it was based on? Because you got there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you got the points there, then you got the points within the cross itself. Okay. Is that right? Okay.
You can fold the cross into a cube.
So that's why. So he probably made that story to do with the cross for that reason. You know what I mean? To draw people in, but I'll just say it's this: the 8 points for the 8 dynamics. Yeah, because there is 8 points there. There is each point of the cross, and then the cross within the cross itself, like the diagonal cross, the points down. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Twilla Luna.
Hubbard himself became increasingly reclusive, operating from a series of secretive locations to avoid legal entanglements and maintain control over the organization. His writings and recorded lectures remained the central authority for Scientology doctrine, guiding the practices and beliefs of his followers. The early followers of Scientology, many of whom were drawn to...
No, of course. I mean, it's not a Jesus-believing religion. It's not got a... It's not alleged. They don't think they've got a deity. I think they have Satan. But, yeah, it doesn't... But they do say you could be of any religion to be a Scientologist, don't they? You can be of any religion. You can be a Christian. You can be a Muslim. This, that, whatever. Yeah. So the cross is very misleading, without a doubt. But I get what you're saying about the 8 dynamics.
Hubbard's promise of personal empowerment and spiritual liberation played a crucial role in the establishment and expansion of the church. Figures like Mary Sue Hubbard, Hubbard's third wife, and other dedicated members contributed to the organizational and administrative efforts that supported the church's growth. Their stories, marked by both devotion and controversy, reflect the complex and often contentious history of Scientology's early years. One of the...
All the cool people, yeah. They come here, just all cool people. But all guys who come here are cool. I've give you a wrench, spanner, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're from, Twilla Luna. I just give everyone. I know there seems like not much point. It's just so everybody's the same. My missus makes sure there's we don't have hardly any trolls here. Maybe in the comments here and there, but the missus always gets rid of them. So there's hardly ever any trolls. But if there is, you're armed just in case. So you know, a moderator. We like everybody in blue around here.
Most controversial aspects of Scientology is its core practice of auditing, which revolves around the concept of engrams. According to L. Ron Hubbard, engrams are traumatic memories stored in the reactive mind.
I mean, engrams are traumatic memories. The traumatic memories, not engrams. Why call them engrams? To give them something else as a part that's just individual to Scientology, or auditing. You know, it's his. It belongs to him.
The part of the mind that operates on a subconscious level and controls irrational behavior. These engrams, Hubbard claimed, are the root cause of all psychological and physical issues. Through auditing, a process that involves a trained auditor asking a series of questions.
No, certainly not, Twilla Luna. You can't go up the bridge to take total freedom and practice other religions. No, of course not. Of course not. But they say to come into it, you can be of same as Masons say you can be a Christian, a Muslim, or anything, which is totally contrary to what allegedly believe as well that yeah, apparently to be accepted, you can be accepted as one of them, but obviously you wouldn't be expected to be one afterwards. Yeah, I know, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
Questions designed to help an individual recall and confront these buried memories. One could supposedly erase these engrams and achieve a state of clear. Hubbard described this state as one where an individual is free from the influence of the reactive mind, resulting in improved mental clarity and overall well-being. Scientology offers a structured path of spiritual advancement known as the Bridge to Total Freedom. This bridge outlines a series of steps or grades that practitioners must complete to achieve higher states of spiritual awareness and freedom. Each step involves various courses, auditing sessions, and other practices designed.
If you ask me, there's no freedom in a minute at all. It's complete bondage. The more you go into that Dianetics, it's not the fear it's making you, the more bound it's making you, I think. Yeah.
For sure.
More bound.
Designed
Total adverse of what it says it does. The total opposite.
to help individuals progress from being pre-clears to achieving the state of clear and eventually reaching the advanced levels of operating thetan. The bridge to total freedom is depicted as a precise and systematic route to spiritual enlightenment, promising profound personal transformation and the realization of one's true spiritual potential. As practitioners advance along the bridge, they encounter the OT levels, a series of advanced courses that reveal more esoteric and secretive teachings of Scientology. The OT levels are considered highly confidential, with access granted only to those who have demonstrated significant dedication and have completed the prerequisite steps on the bridge. Hubbard claimed that these
and they blackmail you in auditing sessions. Wow, my thing speaking today. Instead of my lips and my tongue, one or the other. Yeah, no doubt. Anything that there's money involved. I mean, as if it's not expensive enough, you know. I think what's the opening price? Opening. What's the lowest session you can get? 100 grand or something.
advanced levels contained the most profound spiritual knowledge and techniques for unlocking the full potential of the thetan. The teachings of the OT levels include dramatic and controversial claims, such as the story of Xenu, a galactic overlord who, according to Hubbard,
that wasn't Xenu, that was Ming. Come on, get your bad guys right. That was Ming from Flash Gordon.
was responsible for implanting engrams in thetans billions of years ago. One of the most notorious OT levels is OT3, also known as the Wall of Fire. In this level, Hubbard introduced the story of Xenu and the body thetans, disembodied spirits.
Exactly that, a story.
That supposedly cling to individuals and cause various problems. According to Hubbard, these body thetans must be identified and exercised through specific auditing techniques to achieve higher spiritual states. The secrecy surrounding the OT levels and the extraordinary nature of their teachings have led to widespread skepticism and criticism from both former members and external observers. The high cost of progressing through the bridge and accessing the OT levels has also been a significant point of controversy. Scientology.
I mean, yeah, how do they justify the amount that it costs to become free? Is that it? If you want to be free, you'll pay it. Yeah. Wow. The cost of freedom from God in Jesus Christ. He who the Son sets free is free indeed. I say it after every stream. That costs zero. Nothing. Not as in a redeeming kind of thing. Like price. It doesn't cost price.
Courses and auditing sessions are expensive. often costing thousands of dollars. Critics argue that this financial burden exploits members and creates a system where spiritual advancement is accessible primarily to those who can afford it. Former members have reported spending vast sums of money, sometimes depleting their life savings in their pursuit of spiritual freedom as promised by Scientology. Moreover, the Church of Scientology's aggressive defense of its teachings and practices.
See, that would happen, Twilight Luna, wouldn't it? They video you and write down everything during sessions. So everything that you're like confessing or getting off your chest or that's coming to light of past traumas, you won't want anybody to know about. You know what I mean? In your past life, you were SA'd by a bull. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want nobody to know that, would you? You know. So they're sitting there taking all this down as well and getting blackmailed at the same time. So they're paying through the nose and getting blackmailed. It would make sense, wouldn't it? It would make sense. I mean, look at the people when anyone tries to get in your Scientology, all their guards and that. Look at what they're like. There's no expression on them except like, you get away from here now. We don't want you around here. You know what I mean? You can't be here. You can't have your cameras out here. This is God. You know, it's so aggressive. So aggressive.
Has drawn significant criticism. The church has a history of litigious behavior, frequently suing critics and former members who speak out against its practices. The policy of fair game, which Hubbard described as a tactic for handling enemies of Scientology.
Exactly like Twilight Luna. Religion is free, Scientology is neither. Exactly.
Allows for the harassment and intimidation of those deemed threats to the church. This policy has led to numerous allegations of abuse, surveillance, and other unethical actions aimed at silencing dissent and protecting the church's secrets. Financial exploitation has been a central and enduring criticism of Scientology since its inception. From its early days, the Church of Scientology has been accused of manipulating and exploiting its members financially, often demanding exorbitant fees for courses, auditing sessions, and various other services. The costs associated with moving up the bridge to total freedom can reach into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, creating a system where spiritual advancement is heavily tied to financial capability. Membership fees in Scientology are structured around a series of increasingly expensive courses and auditing sessions. New members start.
Oh, you don't get the 3-week free course then? You got to pay for that. Oh, isn't that strange that you'd have to pay for that as well? Yeah? No free courses here. Wow.
With basic introductory courses, which might cost a few $100s. However, as they progress, the price of courses and sessions escalates significantly. Advanced courses, particularly those related to the operating thetan, OT levels, can cost tens of thousands of dollars each. For example, OT3, which introduces the controversial story of...
Somebody mentioned OT3 earlier. Who was it? I think it was Glenn. I might be wrong. No, it was Twilight Luna. Said about South Park got OT3 right. Yeah. Might have been mentioned before that as well. So you guys know what you're talking about.
Xenu can cost upwards of $8,000. Completing all the OT levels can easily total over $300,000. In addition to these courses, members are often encouraged to donate to the church and purchase various Scientology-related material.
Donate as well. These things, there's an actual price, but can you please donate as well? You know? Oh, Osteen, dude. Joel Osteen, remember, not Osteen. Osteen. He's been Mandelaed as well. Yeah, he's far from a godly man. Far from a godly man. He doesn't even preach the gospel. He doesn't preach the gospel. It's best life now. You can
all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about money. I'm conjuring things from nothing. You believe, you pay this, but you believe, and you believe you can will it in existence. You can will this money in existence. You can will this in existence, pretty much. That's kind of crap they talk. They don't do nothing about the gospel whatsoever. It's all tickling ears. They don't preach hell. They don't preach the gospel. They don't preach anything that's of any matter when it comes to scripture.
Yes.
Materials such as books, lectures,
Sorry, did you get to that, Mike?
No, it's okay. Just said yes.
Okay, cool.
and e-meters. Former members and critics have frequently alleged financial manipulation and exploitation within the church. They describe a high-pressure environment where members are continually encouraged and sometimes coerced into spending more money on courses and auditing sessions. This pressure can come in the form of aggressive sales tactics, promises of spiritual benefits, and even threats of ostracism or punishment. One of the most damning allegations is that the church targets vulnerable.
They definitely do the shunning thing, don't they? Same with a lot of other cults and religions do the shunning thing, which is bad for a lot of people because they've already took you away from your family. Your family have disowned you, maybe. You've burnt a lot of bridges, maybe you can't go back. And then you get shunned from them as well. Threat of shunning from them, ostracized from them. You think, well, I've got to stay with them because if I don't, I haven't got a family anymore, I've got nothing. They put you in that spot. They make sure you're in that situation that it's very, very hard to get out of. Very hard to get out of.
Yeah, there's one guy on YouTube also, and this guy, he goes around at Scientology, you know, where they go and meet some people to get new recruits. And he tries to warn these guys, you know, he goes there and say, don't go in there, it's a trap, come out and take another path, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's a good guy, he's on YouTube somewhere. I don't know what's his name, but
look how right he is, man. Correct he is. Yeah, it's a trap. Like I say, that Dianetics, there's no freedom in it at all. Pure, like I say, every step you're taking, every time you're doing it, you're becoming more bound. You know what I mean? Badness.
Individuals, promising them solutions to personal problems in exchange for substantial financial commitments. A key element of Scientology's financial strategy.
Barry, it's good to see you, bro. You've been early quite lately. It's only today. Well, today you've kind of come, say, probably halfway.
Is its use of donations rather than fees, which helps maintain its tax-exempt status as a religious organization. Members are told that their payments are donations towards their spiritual progress, a practice that has drawn significant scrutiny from tax authorities and critics who argue that these payments are essentially mandatory fees. The IRS had long challenged the church's
mandatory fees, yeah.
Just tax-exempt status, culminating in a protracted legal battle that ended in 1993 when the IRS granted Scientology tax exemption, reportedly following an extensive campaign of litigation and alleged harassment by the church. L. Ron Hubbard himself amassed significant wealth through the financial structure of Scientology. Despite his public persona as a spiritual leader, Hubbard's financial records reveal a different story. By the time of his death in 1986, Hubbard had accumulated a vast fortune, with estimates of his wealth ranging from $200 million to $600 million. This wealth came from various sources within the church, including royalties from his numerous writings, fees from courses and auditing sessions, and direct contributions from members. One particularly controversial aspect of Hubbard's financial dealings was his use of offshore accounts and complex financial arrangements to manage and conceal his wealth. According to court documents and investigative reports, Hubbard utilized a network of shell companies and foreign bank accounts to funnel money out of the United States, thereby avoiding taxes and scrutiny. This financial labyrinth made it difficult for authorities to track the true extent of his wealth and the flow of money within Scientology. The financial exploitation extended beyond Hubbard's lifetime, as the church continued to amass wealth under the leadership of his successor, David Miscavige. Under Miscavige, the church has maintained and even
David Miscavige, yeah? Wow.
expanded its aggressive fundraising practices. High-ranking officials within the church, often referred to as registrars, are tasked with securing donations from members, using high-pressure tactics that many former members describe as manipulative and coercive. These practices have led to numerous lawsuits and public scandals, further tarnishing the church's reputation. Despite the controversies, Scientology remains financially robust. The church owns valuable real estate properties around the world, including its flagship headquarters in Clearwater, Florida, and the Celebrity Center in Hollywood, California. These properties, along with a steady stream of income from courses, auditing sessions, and donations, ensure that Scientology continues to thrive financially, even as its membership reportedly declines. The Church of Scientology has a long history of legal battles and investigations.
But even though like the membership is declining, the money is still going. Yeah, it says something, doesn't it?
Yes, and they don't pay taxes and they don't give nothing back to the community. They take everything from this for themselves. It's crazy, man. Yeah.
Because the cost is a church as well as they're exempt from things, certain things, aren't they? No,
it's crazy.
Reflecting the intense scrutiny and controversy surrounding its practices and operations. From its early days, the organization faced significant legal challenges and controversies that have shaped its reputation and operations. One of the earliest legal challenges Scientology faced was in the 1950s, shortly after the publication of Dianetics. The American Medical Association and other professional organizations criticized Hubbard's method.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, them kind of organizations might not have liked it because it was originally for mental health, wasn't it?
As pseudoscientific and potentially harmful.
Certainly.
In 1951, the Hubbard Dianetic Research Foundation was forced into bankruptcy due to mounting legal and financial pressures. Despite these early setbacks, Hubbard rebranded his teachings as Scientology and continued to attract followers. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Scientology faced increasing scrutiny from government agencies. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, was particularly concerned about the church's claims regarding the e-meter, which was marketed as a medical device. In 1963, the FDA conducted a raid on the Church of Scientology's headquarters in Washington, D.C., seizing e-meters and documents. The FDA argued that the e-meter was being used to make unsubstantiated medical claims. The church fought back with a series of...
I know. I mean, it does nothing for you. What's it read? What's it reads? Heat or electricity or something like that. That's it, isn't it? It's just making a connection. It's making a circuit. It's watching some needles on a display go ping, ping, ping.
Yeah, but what does it show you? If you're ill or not, or what does it do?
You know, yeah. It just it diagnoses you and gives you a prescription, yeah.
Oh my God.
Madness, isn't it?
Of legal battles, eventually resulting in a 1971 court ruling that allowed the use of the e-meter, provided it was labeled as a religious artifact. One of the most significant investigations into Scientology occurred in the 1970s, when the FBI launched an investigation into the church's activities. The investigation, known as Operation Snow White, was prompted by the discovery of extensive infiltration of government agencies by Scientology.
Someone mentioned Snow White earlier on too as well. Probably Luna. Luna seems to know a lot about this this topic.
Scientology operatives. Under the direction of the church's Guardian's office, Scientologists had stolen documents wiretapped offices, and engaged in other illegal activities in an effort to protect the church and gather intelligence on its critics. In 1977, the FBI conducted raids on Scientology offices in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., uncovering a vast network of espionage and criminal activities. The fallout from Operation Snow White was severe. In 1979, 11 high-ranking Scientologists, including Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue Hubbard, were convicted of charges including conspiracy and theft of government property. Mary Sue Hubbard, who had been the head of the Guardian's office, was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Although L. Ron Hubbard himself was named as an unindicted co-conspirator, he went into hiding to avoid prosecution, further solidifying his reclusive status until his death in 1986. Another major legal battle for Scientology involved its fight for tax-exempt status with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS.
It shows you the fluctuations, electrical potentials. Yeah, so if I was to grab it, it would kind of, the needle would go up and down a bit. If you put a bit of tin foil across the two things, then it would probably go right up or something like that. Is that what kind of things, depending on what type of electricity would flow through it? A conductor or an insulator wouldn't do anything, would it? You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
For decades, the IRS refused to grant Scientology tax-exempt status, arguing that it operated more like a commercial enterprise than a religious organization. This denial led to a prolonged and bitter conflict between the church and the IRS, marked by hundreds of lawsuits filed by Scientology against the agency and its officials. The church also engaged in aggressive tactics to pressure the IRS, including hiring private investigators to dig up dirt on IRS officials and conducting smear campaigns.
There you go. Extortion, blackmail, you know what I mean? The list, all that kind of stuff. The list goes longer. Yeah. Luna knows what they're on about.
In 1993, the battle came to a surprising end when the IRS granted Scientology tax-exempt status, recognizing it as a bona fide religious organization. The settlement included the dismissal of all outstanding lawsuits and a significant reduction in tax liabilities. The exact details of the agreement remain confidential, but it marked a turning point for the church, providing it with substantial financial and legal benefits. Over the years, Scientology has also been involved in numerous...
That one on the left, though. Sorry, the one on the right, she's... let me just play it again.
Details of the agreement remain confidential, but it marked a turning point for the church, providing it with substantial financial and legal benefits. Over the...
This one here, on the right, I know you can't see my pointer, but the one to the right of Tom Cruise, the lady, the only lady there, she's out of it now. She was in a sitcom. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Try Luna. It's just come up with Leah Remini. Yeah. I didn't know her name. I knew she was in. Was she in Joey? Joey, like no Joey Tribbiani from Friends. Yeah. She was. Was she in Joey? Like Joey from Friends. He had a spin-off from Friends. Joey. She was his sister. She was his sister. Wasn't she his sister? And Joey. But if not, even if it wasn't, I still know her from American sitcom of some sort. But yeah.
She speaks out against it.
Yeah, she does. She speaks out against it now, yeah. Yeah. I knew she was out of it, but it's not really fair to put her face in there, you know.
Years, Scientology has also been involved in numerous notable lawsuits and settlements. One high-profile case was the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of Lisa McPherson, a Scientologist who died in 1995 under suspicious circumstances while in the care of the church.
I think Luna's definitely researched this before. See, Luna was talking about this earlier, and Glenn and that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I knew basic bullet points of Scientology and that, but I didn't know this in-depth stuff of the people and all that, the people that died, all that kind of stuff. Why, if it was suspicious, if not, all that kind of things. You guys have already had a look at this. Fair play.
Church. McPherson had been
King of
undergoing...
Queens, of course it was. Of course it was. She just reminds me now from Joey Tribbiani's thing. Yeah, King of Queens. She played the wife of can't even remember his name now. Big guy. He's in movies now, isn't he? Can't even remember his name. He was a Paul Blart mall cop.
an intensive auditing process when she suffered a mental breakdown. Instead of seeking medical help, Scientologists kept her isolated in a hotel room for 17 days, during which her condition deteriorated. She ultimately died of a pulmonary embolism. The McPherson family's lawsuit alleged that the church had neglected and mistreated her, leading to her death. The case drew widespread media.
Hi, Kevin James. I knew it was Kevin. I just couldn't remember the surname. I knew it was Kevin. I just didn't want to say it without the surname. It would have sounded like just Kevin. Yeah, oh, that Kevin boy.
Attention, and was settled out of court in 2004 for an undisclosed amount. Another significant case involved the church's aggressive use of litigation to silence critics and former members. Scientology has a well-documented history of filing lawsuits against individuals and organizations that speak out against its practices. One notable example is the case of Lawrence Wollersheim, a former member who sued the church for emotional distress and financial exploitation. After a lengthy legal battle, Wollersheim was awarded...
The woman from Joey was Drea DiMatteo. She played Gina Tribbiani. I got her mixed up with Leah Remini.
Leah Remini.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Leah. The Leah girl. The ex-Scientologist.
$8.7 million in damages in 1986, a judgment that was upheld after years of appeals and legal maneuvers by the church. These legal battles and investigations have significantly shaped the public perception of Scientology. While the church has consistently defended its actions...
See, that's sick, that is. Drove past 3 hospitals to get to a Scientologist doctor. That's sick.
...as necessary to protect its religious freedom and confidentiality. Critics argue that its aggressive legal tactics and covert operations reveal a pattern of manipulation, intimidation, and abuse. The extensive legal history of Scientology underscores the deep and ongoing conflicts between the church and various government agencies, former members, and critics. One of the most notorious aspects of Scientology is its treatment of critics and defectors, a practice encapsulated in the church's...
That was Louis Theroux there. That's right, he did something in Scientology, didn't he? He did an investigation on it. Oh, Louis Theroux. And of Savile. I mean, my friend Jimmy Savile. Yeah, he was a bit miffed about that when all that came to light.
Fair game policy. This policy, established by L. Ron Hubbard in the 1960s, explicitly states that individuals deemed to be enemies of Scientology can be tricked, sued, lied to, or destroyed. Although the church officially claims to have rescinded this policy in the late 1960s, numerous reports and accounts from former members and critics suggest that the principles of fair game continue to be applied in practice. The fair game policy has led to numerous instances of harassment and intimidation tactics directed at those who speak out against Scientology. Critics, including journalists, former members, and academics, have reported being subjected to aggressive surveillance, smear campaigns, legal harassment, and even physical threats. One of the most famous cases is that of Paulette Cooper, an author who wrote a critical book titled The Scandal of Scientology in 1971. Following its publication, Cooper endured years of harassment from Scientologists. She was subjected to constant surveillance, false accusations, and even a plot to frame her for bomb threats, a scheme...
Hey Ryan, how you doing, man?
What's up?
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Going Clear is a better anti-Scientology movie. I'll have to look out for that, man. I'll have to look out for that. Good to see you, man.
On Hubbard?
Old Ronnie Boy Hubbard. He lived in a cupboard, you know, and thought of a lot of things in his head.
Known internally as Operation Freakout. The relentless harassment only ceased after the FBI's Operation Snow White raids in 1977 uncovered evidence of the church's extensive campaign.
That was a bit of a snowdrift there, wasn't it? Wow, look at that. Crazy.
Against her. Harassment tactics employed by Scientology often include extensive surveillance and the gathering of personal information to use against critics. Former members have reported being followed by private investigators, having their phones tapped and their personal lives scrutinized. One notable case involves journalist John Sweeney, who produced a BBC Panorama documentary on Scientology in 2000.
I wonder if they still do Panorama. I don't watch TV anymore, so I don't know, but I used to watch Panorama with my dad when I was younger. And I used to find that a little bit interesting as a kid. It's the kind of thing a kid wouldn't watch, but I used to find it interesting as a kid. I wonder if they still do that, Panorama.
2007, Sweeney and his team were followed, harassed, and intimidated during their investigation. Scientology operatives disrupted interviews, confronted Sweeney in public, and even showed up at his hotel room unannounced. Former members of Scientology, or defectors, often face severe consequences for leaving the church and speaking out about their experiences. Many describe a pattern of systematic harassment aimed at discrediting and silencing them. For example, Mike Rinder, a former high-ranking official who served as the church's chief spokesperson, has spoken extensively about the harassment he faced after leaving Scientology in 2007. Rinder reported being...
Glenn, absolutely, I thought that something like that before. Says this seems more like a terrorist organization than anything else. Definitely. I mean, they're definitely, without a doubt, guaranteed they are the cause of some deaths and stuff like that, quite a few. And they put fear into people. Yeah, they certainly are a terrorist organization. A terrorist organization more than a religious organization, that's for sure.
Being followed by private investigators, subjected to smear campaigns, and even physically attacked. His experiences, documented in the HBO documentary
Going Clear, that you were just talking about that there, Luna. Oh, wrong one. Going Clear. So it's a documentary, right? Documentary. I was thinking it was a movie, so it's a documentary. Cool. Going Clear. So I'll have to watch out for that one.
Going Clear and the A&E series Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, highlight the church's relentless efforts to target defectors. Another poignant story is that of Leah Remini, a former Scientologist and actress who left the church in 2013. Remini, known for her role
It's the same type of thing.
in the television show King of Queens, became one of the most high-profile defectors and outspoken critics of Scientology. Her public departure from the church led to a barrage of personal attacks and smear campaigns. In her memoir, Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, and her subsequent television series, Remini detailed the extensive harassment she faced, including character assassination attempts, efforts to undermine her career, and intimidation of her family and friends. The church's treatment of critics and defectors also includes legal harassment. Scientology is known for its litigious nature, often filing lawsuits against those who criticize or expose its practices. This legal intimidation serves both to silence dissent and to financially drain its opponents. Many former members
litigious well-being criminals, you know.
Litigious.
Litigious.
Members have reported being sued by the church after leaving and speaking out, facing prolonged and expensive legal battles. These lawsuits are often coupled with other forms of harassment, creating a multifaceted campaign to discredit and silence critics. Additionally, Scientology's internal justice system, known as the Ethics Office, plays a significant role in the treatment of defectors. Those who express doubts or criticize the church are subjected to ethics handling, which can include interrogations, punishment, and forced confessions. This internal policing creates a culture of fear and obedience, discouraging members from speaking out or leaving the organization. Defectors often describe this process as psychologically damaging, leaving them isolated and fearful of retribution. One of the most chilling aspects of Scientology's treatment of defectors is the policy of disconnection.
They stopped suing because the depositions didn't go well. Well, it's going to end up costing them then, isn't it? If they didn't stop suing, I suppose. They don't want to pay for anything.
Which requires members to cut all ties with anyone deemed an enemy of the church, including family members and close friends. This policy has led to numerous heartbreaking stories of families torn apart. For instance, Sarah Goldberg, a former member featured in Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, described how her son was forced to disconnect from her after she left the church, a practice that has caused immense personal suffering for many former members. L. Ron Hubbard's personal life and character are as complex and controversial as the church he founded. His relationships, allegations of abuse and manipulation, and the contradictions in his personal narrative paint a multifaceted picture of a man.
Did it ever say that he got any kind of revelation of anything to make this religion, or did he just make it up? I mean, he didn't really. He tells you about the Thetans and all that thing, and Dianetics, and what gets you better.
I was gonna say, you never read Dianetics?
No, I've never read it. I don't want to. No, I haven't read it. No, but
I never did either. Although I did have a copy of the book at one time, I never did dig in and read it.
But does he? So does he? Does he have? Does he say he has some kind of revelation? Because it hasn't said that in this. It hasn't said how it come about. It says it's from.
I don't know exactly what his thing was, but I know it was something like that. Like he was some kind of higher or whatever. Yeah, thought he was.
So he must have had. Well, allegedly, obviously he made it up, but he's got to have some kind of revelation story. You know, you've got to have, surely. Yeah, I would say so anyway.
And whose influence and actions have left a lasting impact. Hubbard's marital history is marked by turbulence and controversy. He was married 3 times. His first marriage was to Margaret Pauley Grubb in 1933. The couple had 2 children, L. Ron Hubbard Jr., also known as Ron DeWolf, and Catherine May K. Hubbard. The marriage was strained by Hubbard's frequent absences.
That was Mother Hubbard.
Old Mother Hubbard went to her cupboard.
And she found L. Ron Hubbard.
When she been over, Rover took over.
So on. So on.
Financial difficulties. In 1946, while still married to Pauley, Hubbard began a relationship with Sarah Northrop Hollister, who was a member of the occult circles surrounding rocket scientist Jack Parsons. This affair led to a bitter and public divorce from Pauley in 1947. Hubbard married Sarah Northrop in 1946, and the relationship quickly became tumultuous. Allegations of abuse surfaced during this period, with Northrop later describing Hubbard as violent and manipulative. In her affidavit during their 1951 divorce proceedings, Northrop accused Hubbard of kidnapping their daughter, Alexis, physically abusing her, and making threats against her life. She stated, "I did not want to have anything to do with Scientology because I know what a terrible organization it is." These allegations, along with other testimonies, have contributed to the darker aspects of Hubbard's legacy. Hubbard's 3rd marriage was to Mary Sue Whipp in 1952, shortly after the establishment of Scientology. Mary Sue played a significant role in the church, particularly in the Guardian's office, which was responsible for handling legal affairs and intelligence operations. The couple had 4 children: Diana, Quentin, Suzette, and Arthur.
Oh, he said he's Buddha from lifetimes of experience. Sounds holy, right? Yeah, very holy. Righteous, sanctimonious, pontificating, more like. Yeah, definitely pontificating his bloody, his religious stories from his head to his wallet.
We put that in charge of you.
Despite Mary Sue's prominent position within Scientology, their marriage was not without its challenges. The pressures of managing the church, combined with Hubbard's increasingly erratic behavior and prolonged absences, strained their relationship. Mary Sue's eventual conviction and imprisonment in connection with Operation Snow White further complicated their family life. Allegations of abuse and manipulation.
Sounds like a cocaine bust, doesn't it? Operation Snow White. It's not that.
I think it was some about
extend beyond Hubbard's.
They were talking about it earlier on, yeah.
Maybe he had 7 dwarves too.
7 dwarves. They might have had 7. It's Snow White and the 7 little dealers.
Marriages. Former Scientologists and biographers have described Hubbard as a charismatic yet domineering figure who exerted significant control over those around him.
No, not pretty.
Sorry, but he was ugly.
Or as I was saying earlier on, uncomely, because I was saying earlier that every thing we see of Jesus, like, I mean, I love Jesus, absolutely. But everything we see of Jesus is all, in TV, movies, whatever, he's always made to be quite good looking. The Old Testament prophesies that he will be uncomely. Uncomely means ugly. It's just the whole way of saying ugly. Nothing that anybody would want to desire.
Oh man, you just ruined my whole idea what Jesus is. How dare
Yes,
you?
he wasn't blonde haired, he wasn't blue eyed, you know. And do you know something that's weird? Because the Robert Powell Jesus, I always seen the Robert Powell is blonde haired or like a mousy kind of blonde and blue eyed. Now he did have blue eyes, but you look back on it now, the movie, he had brown hair, quite dark brown hair as well. I always remember that movie as having kind of mousy blonde hair, like a fair hair. Either Mandela affected or me misremembering, that's for sure. That's just how I remember it. Anyway, I never watched it often. I did see it a couple of times. It's weird how he kind of gets crucified in that as well. There's a frame system instead of 3 separate. Because some like depict a tree, don't they? And a bit you have the 3 separate crosses with the two criminals and Jesus. But this had a frame, kind of he was in the middle and them either side on a framework. It was a cross, but there was a framework to it. It's weird.
He is alleged to have manipulated followers through a combination of charm, coercion, and psychological pressure. For instance, Hubbard's eldest son.
That's just happened. 5,000 covert agents in Operation Snow White, much more than 7 dwarfs. Just a little bit. Just a wee bit.
Ron DeWolf became one of his most vocal critics, describing his father as a compulsive liar and a sociopath. In interviews and legal testimonies,
That's a good
DeWolf
description.
recounted instances of his father's abusive behavior.
I think he might have been a bit of a sociopath too. Learned behavior passed down.
Well, let's see. He started his own cult.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he had an ego trip. I think he had an
Definitely had an ego trip. He's definitely probably hedonistic for sure. I mean, likes all this money and all this pleasure.
Anybody who thinks they can control the world completely with their own hands is a fool. You need the devil for that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Which he does.
Behavior, including beatings and threats. He claimed, My father was the master manipulator. He was capable of twisting and distorting reality to suit his own purposes. Hubbard's character is further complicated by the numerous contradictions and self-mythologizing in his personal narrative. He often embellished or fabricated details about his life and achievements to build a larger-than-life persona. For example, Hubbard claimed to have been a war hero who was wounded in combat and healed himself using the techniques that would later form the basis of Dianetics. However, military records do not support these claims, revealing...
Sorry, Ryan.
So of course he made it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Instead that Hubbard's service was marked by disciplinary issues and exaggerations of his accomplishments. Another significant contradiction lies in Hubbard's purported scientific and exploratory endeavors. He claimed to have traveled extensively in Asia, where he supposedly studied under Buddhist monks and gained profound spiritual insights. However,
is this when he learned he was Buddha?
Researchers and biographers have found little evidence to substantiate these claims. Hubbard's own writings, which often blur the lines between fact and fiction, contributed to the creation of a mythic narrative that has been difficult to disentangle from reality. Hubbard also portrayed himself as a pioneering scientist and philosopher, yet his academic background was notably unremarkable. He attended George Washington University briefly, but dropped out due to poor grades. Despite this, he positioned himself as an authority on mental health and spirituality, developing elaborate theories and practices that lacked empirical support. His writings in Dianetics and Scientology texts often contain scientific jargon and references, giving the impression of rigorous scholarship. But critics argue that his work lacks the methodological rigor and peer review characteristic of legitimate scientific research. The contradictions in Hubbard's narrative also extend to his personal conduct and ethical standards. While preaching the importance of honesty, integrity, and ethical behavior, Hubbard's actions often contradicted these principles.
Good to see you, Chilling. Good to see you, bro. You said loons and lasses out there, and I'm like, well, why didn't you say quinies? Like I would say, like Glaswegian would say lads and lasses. I would say loons and quines. You said loons and lasses. I'm like, okay. I would say loons and quines, but there we go. I mean, I would say lasses as well, but if I was said loons, I would have followed it with quines. But there we go. Good to see you, man. Anyway, I won't be too far from finished. It's loons and quines. It's how we say in Doric, where I'm from, our dialect, Doric in Scotland. That's how we say boys and girls, loons and quines. I know.
His involvement in covert operations, legal battles, and financial exploitation reflects a pattern of behavior that many view as hypocritical and self-serving. L. Ron Hubbard's views on mental health and psychology played a crucial role in the development of Scientology and have been a source of significant controversy. From the outset, Hubbard positioned himself as a pioneer in the field of mental health, despite lacking formal qualifications. His foundational work, Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, claimed to offer a groundbreaking approach to understanding and treating mental disorders, which Hubbard believed were caused by traumatic memories stored in the reactive mind. According to Hubbard, these engrams could be eliminated through a...
How many traumatic memories, or what type of traumatic memories did that tomato have? Was it, how many lives did it have? It could have been like 20 lives, 30, 40. So many traumatic events must have happened to that tomato. What's tomato here?
process called auditing, leading to a state of clear where the individual would be free from irrational behavior and psychosomatic illnesses. Hubbard's claims about mental health were revolutionary and appealing to many, but they also drew sharp criticism from the medical and psychological communities. Professionals in these fields argued that Hubbard's theories were unscientific and lacked empirical support. The American Psychological Association and the American Medical Association both issued statements denouncing Dianetics as pseudoscience. Despite this, Hubbard continued to promote his methods, leading to widespread adoption among his followers and the establishment of Scientology as a religious movement. Allegations of medical fraud and harm have been a persistent issue for Hubbard and Scientology. Critics argue that Hubbard's methods not only lack scientific validation, but also pose significant risks to individuals' mental and physical health. One of the most serious allegations is that Scientology's practices can exacerbate mental health issues rather than alleviate them. For example, the case of Lisa McPherson, a Scientologist who died in 1995 after undergoing an intensive auditing process, highlighted the potential dangers of Scientology's approach. McPherson experienced a mental breakdown and was kept in isolation by church members instead of receiving appropriate medical care. Her death, which was attributed to a pulmonary embolism, raised questions about the church's treatment practices and led to a wrongful death lawsuit that was eventually settled out of court. Another example involves the church's use of the Purification Rundown, a detoxification program that involves long periods in a sauna and high doses of vitamins, particularly niacin. Scientology claims that this regimen helps to cleanse the body of toxins and improve mental clarity. However,
of course it
medical
does.
experts have raised concerns about the...
Absolutely. Same as homeopathy works as well, you know? It's like homeopathy is like putting a paracetamol, not for a painkiller, it's like putting a paracetamol, which just say a paracetamol, I don't know what you call them. It's just a generic brand of over-the-counter painkiller that you get for headaches, not a paracetamol. It's like putting that in the ocean. Tylenol, that's it, yeah. That's what you're calling it, yeah. It's like putting one of them in the ocean, taking a sip from it and saying, yeah, that'll get rid of your pain. You know what I mean? They say they say with homeopathy, the least you take, the more effective. Well, that's like saying, I forgot to take my medication this morning. That means I've OD'd. You know what I mean?
The psychological side of it is actually quite interesting when you find out that people actually will convince themselves that it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, placebos happen, but the actual they do make claims like that, saying that the less you take, the more it works and all that. It's just stupid, I think. But there we go.
It is.
What the mind will do to you.
Safety and efficacy of this program, noting that excessive niacin intake and prolonged heat exposure can be harmful.
Wow.
The Church of Scientology has maintained a staunchly adversarial stance towards psychiatry and psychiatric medication, which it views as harmful and oppressive. Hubbard's writings and...
Well, no, I can't disagree there. Sometimes that can be. Definitely. Depending on who and what they're doing. Certain stuff you shouldn't always be messed with. Depending, you know what I mean?
Lectures frequently criticize psychiatry as a pseudoscience that causes more harm than good. He alleged that psychiatric practices were responsible for numerous social ills and even claimed that psychiatrists were behind some of history's greatest atrocities. This anti-psychiatry stance is a core tenet of Scientology and has led to the establishment of organizations such as the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, CCHR, which campaigns against psychiatric abuses and promotes Hubbard's views. Hubbard's antagonism toward psychiatry is deeply embedded in Scientology's doctrine and practices. The Church teaches that psychiatric medications, such as antidepressants and antipsychotics, are not only ineffective but also dangerous. Scientologists are encouraged to avoid these medications and instead rely on auditing and other Scientology-based methods for mental health treatment. This stance has significant implications for...
Could imagine, Luna, you know what I mean? All that kind of crap going through your kidneys and that. I mean, niacin and all that kind of crap, and the amounts of it or whatever. I mean, your kidneys not got to process that. No, kidneys, blood, isn't it? So your liver and that has got to process that. I mean, but it's all going through your blood.
Members with mental health conditions who may be discouraged from seeking conventional medical treatment. The Church's aggressive campaign against psychiatry has included public demonstrations, lobbying efforts, and the dissemination of anti-psychiatry literature. The CCHR, founded in 1969 by Hubbard and Thomas Szasz, a prominent anti-psychiatry psychiatrist, has been at the forefront of these efforts. The organization operates museums, produces documentaries, and publishes reports aimed at exposing what it claims are the dangers and abuses of psychiatry. One of the CCHR's
Always, Glenn. Always. You're always the bad guy.
most notable initiatives is the Museum, Psychiatry, an Industry of Death, located in Los Angeles, which presents a highly critical view of the history and practices of psychiatry. The death of L. Ron Hubbard on January 24, 1986, marked the end of an era for Scientology, but also set the stage for significant changes within the organization. Hubbard died at his ranch near San Luis Obispo, California, officially of a stroke. However, the circumstances surrounding his death have been the subject of much speculation and controversy. Reports indicated that Hubbard spent his final years in seclusion, surrounded by a small group of trusted aides. His health had been declining, and he was reportedly living in isolation to avoid legal entanglements and public scrutiny. Following Hubbard's death, the transition of power within Scientology was swift and decisive. David Miscavige, a close associate of Hubbard and a high-ranking member of the Sea Organization, the Church's elite religious order, emerged as the new leader of Scientology. Miscavige had been instrumental in navigating the Church through various legal battles, including the successful campaign to secure tax-exempt status from the IRS in 1993. His rise to power was marked by a consolidation of control and a series of purges to remove potential rivals and dissenters within the organization. Under Miscavige's leadership, Scientology became even more secretive and hierarchical, with a focus on maintaining strict control over its members and operations. Today, Scientology continues to exert a significant influence, though it remains one of the most controversial religious movements in the world. The Church operates numerous centers and missions globally, with its spiritual headquarters in Clearwater, Florida. It claims millions of members, though independent estimates suggest the actual number is far lower. Despite facing declining membership and ongoing legal and public relations challenges, Scientology maintains a visible presence, partly due to its substantial financial resources and high-profile members, including celebrities like Tom Cruise and John Travolta. Scientology's influence extends into various areas, including education and drug rehabilitation, through affiliated organizations such as Applied Scholastics and Narconon. These programs promote Hubbard's teachings in secular contexts, though they have also been criticized for their methods and effectiveness. The Church's aggressive legal tactics and its ability to mobilize resources have allowed it to sustain its operations and defend itself against numerous lawsuits and negative media coverage. Hubbard's lasting impact and controversies continue to shape the public perception of Scientology. His prolific writings, which form the doctrinal basis of Scientology.
Elron didn't advise that Miscavige should take over then. That was totally after he died then. Okay, right.
Are still studied and revered by members. Hubbard's legacy is also preserved through the Church's extensive promotional efforts, including publishing his works, producing films, and maintaining websites dedicated to his life and teachings. However, the controversies surrounding his personal life, the origins of Scientology, and the practices of the Church cast a long shadow over his legacy. Hubbard's claims about his life and accomplishments have been widely disputed. For instance, his self-portrayal as a war hero, explorer, and scientific pioneer has been contradicted by military records, personal accounts, and historical research. These discrepancies have led critics to view Hubbard as a masterful self-mythologizer who created a compelling but largely fictitious narrative about his life. His extensive writings on mental health, despite being foundational to Scientology, are viewed by the broader medical community as lacking scientific credibility and potentially harmful. Moreover, Hubbard's policies such as fair game and disconnection have left a legacy of controversy and criticism. These policies have been linked to numerous allegations of harassment, abuse, and familial separation.
I post it, Alex. All right, dude. All right.
The stories of individuals who have suffered as a result of these practices continue to fuel negative perceptions of Scientology. The Church's persistent use of aggressive legal tactics to silence critics and protect its interests further complicates its public image. In the years since Hubbard's death, the Church of Scientology has faced numerous high-profile defections and exposes. Former high-ranking members such as Mike Rinder and Leah Remini have become vocal critics, sharing their experiences and bringing attention to the alleged abuses within the church. Their efforts through documentaries, books, and interviews have brought significant public scrutiny and have contributed to a broader understanding of the issues within Scientology.
Oh, that's it. That be it. Not yet. Yeah, I've
Right.
just got posted. I posted Alex up now. Ex-Scientologist. Right, I'll sub to that. And see what comes of it. Check it out. From the studio. That was pretty interesting. A lot of stuff in there I didn't know, which I knew anyway. I kind of just knew the bullet points of Scientology. And there was somebody in the chat that knew a hell of a lot. You know what I mean? Fair play for Twyla Luna for showing up. Knew quite a lot of it. Glenn as well, and few others. I mean, I just knew a few basic things. You know what I mean, but yeah, fair play, guys. Nice one in the chat for the knowledge. Always good, always good. Bless you guys. I usually play out with Mr. Super Sidewinder. Still Mr. Super Sidewinder, but it's not one of his normal songs. It's Barbara gave him a palm handle, a hand pan. Vicky calls it a panhandle. It's a hand pan, it's called. I got mixed up then. And he was playing about with it. So it's him and somebody else, Sis. It says me and Sis. And they're messing about with a panhandle. And it's pretty good, some of it. So yeah, it's still music at the end of the day. So it's still Mr. Super Sidewinder we're playing out with. It's just a little different. Oh, I'm not sharing screen. I'm meant to be presenting video file. Right, where are we? There it is. There we go. It's me and Sis. Interesting, isn't it? Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that apostate Alex, I'll definitely do something from it. I've subscribed. I'll do something from his at some point. Have a look at it and do it through the week. Yeah, it is cool, isn't it, Joe King? I didn't know you were still here, to be honest. I seen you at the start. You maybe just popped in at the end there. How you doing, man? It makes a brilliant sound. There's Mr. Super Sidewinder and the old harmonica. There we go. No probs, Joe King. No probs. There we go. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's a nice sound, isn't it? I like that. So that's Mr. Super Sidewinder. And it's this. Fantastic. So, If I don't, I'll see you tonight on Flatsides in about 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours is, so I'll see you on Flatsides. And if I don't, I'll see you tomorrow morning and at 8 a.m.
All right. Thank you for the show. It was great. Thanks.
No problem, dude. You're always welcome. You know that, man. Bless you guys in chat, in the YouTube chat. Thanks for coming. And you guys in the panel. Bless you. Nice one, guys. And I'll see you guys later. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow. So
bye.
You the sun sets free. It's free.
Indeed.
Indeed. Bless you guys. Ta-da.